Part 1. Delete your goals. Delete your trading goals. Delete the profit number you wrote in your journal. Delete the milestone that says this month I must double the account. Delete the scenario. You keep imagining one beautiful day. You open your phone, the account is glowing green, and finally you can breathe a sigh of relief. Burn it. Because those very things are killing you one trade at a time. You are not losing because you lack knowledge. You are not losing because your strategy is bad. You are losing because you are trading like someone who lives in the future. You were taught that. To succeed in trading, you need a clear goal, a number, a destination. This month, 20%. This year, financial freedom. This trade must win. It sounds reasonable. But look at your account. Look very carefully. Has chasing that goal made you calmer or more tense? Did it give you control or turn you into a slave to every single candle? In trading, goals do not create power. Goals create pressure. And pressure in trading always leads to one thing: emotional reaction. When you have a profit goal, you no longer see the market as it is. You see it as what you need it to do. Price hasn't moved yet, you get impatient. You enter early. Price moves against you, you hold the trade longer than allowed. Price just touches the target, you exit too soon because you're afraid of losing the result. Goals turn every small movement of the market into a personal threat. And that is the moment a trader dies, not account death, but discipline death. Most traders live their entire lives in a state of almost there, almost a winning streak, almost recovered, almost fine. But trading does not reward those who live in the future. Trading only rewards those who are fully present, right at this candle, right at this risk, right at this decision. When you set a goal, you lose the most important thing a trader must have: emotional neutrality. Goals are a painkiller. They make you forget the truth that, right now, you are not solid enough yet. Instead of facing that truth, you paint a prettier future to escape into. Just get through this phase, just a few more winning trades, but the market does not care what you want. It only reflects who you are. A goal-obsessed trader develops tunnel vision. You only see profit ahead and miss the risk beneath your feet. And in trading, what you don't see is what kills you. Think about the last time you failed at a big goal. What happened? You collapsed. You doubted yourself. You wanted to quit, not because you lost money, but because your identity was tied to that outcome. When the goal dies, you die with it. That is the greatest fragility of the amateur trader. Professional traders do not place their identity on outcomes. They place it on execution. They don't ask, will this trade win? They ask, is this trade following the process? Is the risk controlled? Am I reacting or executing? That is the difference between someone who wishes and someone who builds. Goals say, I want to make money. Systems say, I put myself in a position where money must flow through if I survive long enough. Goals rely on hope. Systems rely on inevitability. When you delete goals, you are not giving up ambition. You are doing something more dangerous. You force yourself to take absolute responsibility for every small action. No more. As long as I'm profitable by month end. Only, did this trade violate discipline? No more. I'll make it back later. Only, which rule did I just break? This is the moment a trader begins to mature. You stop loving profit. You start loving the cold, emotionless process. And that is when you stop being controlled by the market. Part 2. How goals are destroying the trader's brain. There is a truth very few traders want to face. It's not the market against you, not market makers hunting stops, not bad luck. What is quietly destroying you is the way your brain reacts to goals. Every time you write down a profit number, your brain cannot tell whether it's action or imagination. It releases dopamine, not much, but enough to create the feeling, I'm making progress, I'm on the right path. And that is the deadly trap. Dopamine does not reward results. It rewards anticipation. The moment you say, this month I'll make 30%, your brain already receives part of the reward that should only come after hundreds of correct decisions. You feel good before you do the work, and when you feel good too early, you lose hunger. Traders don't die from lack of motivation. They die from losing healthy tension, the tension that makes you wait for clean setups, the tension that stops you from random entries, the tension that forces respect for risk. Goals kill that. They lull you to sleep. You begin trading in a state of half-done. Your entries lose sharpness. You accept worse setups. You tell yourself, it's fine, there's still the whole month. And little by little, your standards drop. Not because you're stupid, but because your brain has been rewarded for talking about the future instead of executing in the present. There is another consequence, far more dangerous. Goals create identity fusion with outcomes. When you say, I am a trader who makes 20% per month, you're not just expressing desire, you are attaching your human value to a number, and when the market moves against you, it's no longer a losing trade. It's an attack on your identity. You start defending, you start justifying. You hold losers longer than allowed just to protect the ego. Many traders call this overconfidence or revenge trading. In reality, it is survival instinct. Your brain doesn't want to die. And in that moment, death chooses admitting, I'm not as good as I thought. So you don't cut losses. You pray. You hope. Hope is the worst mental state in trading. Hope is not belief. Hope is refusal to act. When you hope, you hand decision-making power to the market. A trader with big goals always trades with invisible fear. Fear of missing targets. Fear of starting over. Fear of being proven not good enough. That fear prevents honest chart reading. You see signals you want to see. You ignore signals you don't want to accept. Not because you lie, but because goals bend perception. Professional traders understand this clearly. They allow themselves no short-term must-hit numbers. Not because they lack ambition, but because they know every number is noise. In trading, the only things you control are where you enter, how much you risk, how you exit, whether you comply. Profit is only a statistical byproduct. When you set profit goals, you attempt to control what you do not control, and every misplaced attempt at control creates anxiety. That is why the clearer the goal, the more stressed the trader. They sleep poorly. They constantly check charts. They can't miss a single candle. Because in their mind, every price movement directly affects their future self. A trader like this cannot last long term. Sooner or later, their nervous system collapses, not from losing money, but from living in constant vigilance. Part 3. Stop talking about goals. Start operating in silence. There is one behavior almost every losing trader shares. They talk. They talk about their plans. They talk about monthly goals. They talk about great setups. They talk about new strategies. They talk before they act. And they don't realize that every time they speak, they are bleeding psychological energy from their own system. Talking creates the illusion of progress. Action creates real progress. When you tell someone, this month I'll trade safer, your brain gets another dopamine hit. You already feel disciplined before doing anything. That's why so many traders feel, I understand everything now, while their accounts stagnate or decline. Understanding doesn't make money. Talking doesn't either. Only cold, repeated execution does. And the more you talk, the harder execution becomes. Because you create invisible social pressure. Once you announce a goal, you no longer trade for correctness. You trade to avoid embarrassment. You hold losing trades to avoid explaining. You add positions because I already said it. You stop being honest with the chart. You become honest with your ego. That mismatch is lethal. The strongest trader is the one no one knows what he's doing. No equity curve flexing, no result promises, no public declarations. He simply shows up every day, sits down, does what needs to be done, and leaves. Silence is not mystery. Silence preserves nervous energy. Every word spoken is an emotional commitment. An emotion has no place in trading. A trader performs best when he needs no validation, no likes, no approval, no praise. He doesn't seek external rewards because he has an internal reward system. Losing by the rules is still winning. Winning by breaking rules is still losing. When you drop goals, you don't lose direction. You lose rigid destinations. Instead, you build an operating method. You don't say, I must make money. You say, each day I do only these 3 things. If the market offers opportunity, I take it. If not, I stay out. And you accept staying out as a deliberate action, not failure. This is where amateurs break. They need action to feel alive. Mature traders accept inaction to preserve edge. Dropping goals frees you from the illusion of must trade. You start seeing trading as a long-term probability game, not a daily self-worth exam. And when you stop trying to prove anything, you become extremely dangerous. No FOMO, no revenge, no holding losers. You just wait. and waiting is a skill the market pays extremely well for. Part 4. Don't ask, "What do I want?" Ask, "Where am I standing?" There is one question that destroys almost every new trader. How much money do I want to make? It sounds ambitious. It's actually a sign of blindness. Strong traders don't start with desire, they start with position. Because in trading, you don't make money with willpower, you make money with positioning. Where are you standing in the market's flow? Are you chasing volatility, waiting at a zone, hiding inside noise? Most traders don't lose because strategy is wrong. They lose because they stand in the wrong place. Like standing in the middle of a highway and asking, "How do I avoid getting hit?" You don't improve dodging skills. You step off the road. Profit goals force you to find opportunities everywhere. You turn the market into an imaginary ATM, so you enter places that aren't worth entering. Professionals do the opposite. They choose a few areas where, if price reaches them, probability leans their way. Outside those areas, they don't exist. No opinions, no predictions, no speculation, only conditional presence. That is positioning. Positioning isn't a setup. It's the role you choose to play in the market. Are you someone who follows breakouts, reacts after exhaustion, trades only when the crowd panics? Once the role is clear, many decisions disappear. You stop asking, "Should I enter?" You only ask, "Has the market entered my zone?" If not, you do nothing. And doing nothing is no longer insecurity. It is positional discipline. Weak traders hate stillness. Strong traders love it. Stillness means you're not being dragged by crowd emotion. Positioning also applies to yourself. What state are you trading in? Tired, stressed, irritated? If you enter trades with internal misalignment, you are standing in the wrong place inside your own mind. Professionals don't only position on charts, they position their nervous systems. On messy days, they reduce size. On sharp days, they increase intensity. They don't force consistency. Goals demand fake stability. Positioning allows controlled flexibility. This is where many traders start achieving sustainable profits, not because they're better, but because they stop trying all the time. They only appear when they have edge. And edge doesn't come from hard work. It comes from standing in the right place long enough. Part 5. When you no longer fear being wrong, the market starts paying. The greatest fear of traders is not losing money. It is being wrong. Wrong setup, wrong bias, wrong timing. Because for many people, wrong means I'm not good enough. Goals turn every losing trade into a psychological verdict. With goals, every loss is a step away from the destination. It's no longer data. It becomes personal failure. So you fear entry. Or worse, you enter wanting to be right, not wanting to be correct. The market senses this instantly. A trader who fears being wrong always trades out of sync. He waits for confirmation too late, or enters too early just to avoid waiting. Both are positional errors. When you drop goals, something strange happens. Losses lose emotional weight. No more. Did this trade push me away from my goal? Only, was this trade within my edge zone? If yes, the loss becomes operating cost, like office rent, like electricity. No one feels shame paying electricity bills. Mature traders feel no shame paying for probability. They don't avoid losses, they avoid bad losses, lose small, lose fast, lose without emotion. And when losing is no longer scary, you become truly free, free to wait, free to skip, free to act when needed. This is where traders begin using chaos, market shaking, crowd panicking, price erratic. Goal-driven traders shrink. They fear goal damage. System traders widen their eyes. They know volatility reveals probability. Not all volatility is tradable, but no edge exists in calmness. When you don't fear being wrong, you don't need to be right immediately. You give the market space to reveal itself. You don't force trades. You don't need to enter. You only react when conditions appear. That patience separates you completely from the other 90%. They trade to release emotion. You trade to extract structure. They fear volatility. You require it. But there is one final thing you must do to complete this system. Without it, everything above will collapse on your worst days. Part 6. Discipline is the trader's final power. There is a moment in trading when everything changes forever. Not when you hit a winning streak, not when the account spikes, but when you realize You no longer need the market to prove anything to you. You sit in front of the chart with no expectation. No need for price to move. No need to be right. No need to recover. Only one question remains. Are the conditions met? If not, you stand up. No regret, no frustration, no feeling of being left out. Very few traders reach this state, because it doesn't come from knowledge, it comes from internal power. That power is discipline, not self-help discipline, not forcing willpower, but the discipline of a system built deep enough that thinking is no longer required. You don't need motivation. You don't need inspiration. You don't need reminders. You act because that's how you operate, like a well-programmed machine, not cold, but precise. Weak traders need emotion to act. Strong traders act despite emotion, not because they lack emotion, but because they don't give it authority. You begin living by a simple internal code. I don't trade outside my edge. I don't increase risk to recover. I don't trade when mentally misaligned. I don't talk about my plans. I don't negotiate with laziness. Break the rules, take the consequences. Follow the rules, no reward needed. Because following the rules is the reward. At this level, you don't fear losing streaks. You don't get high on winning streaks. Wins don't inflate you. Losses don't shake you. You understand clearly. Every day you preserve internal structure, you've already won. Profit is just an echo. Traders at this level no longer ask, when will I be rich? They ask, am I still in control of myself? If the answer is yes, they know they'll survive long enough. In trading, survival is the greatest victory. No rush, no proving, no validation needed. You stop chasing the market. The market begins passing through you and leaving money behind as a natural consequence. At that point, you are no longer someone with goals. You are someone with a method, and a method does not promise, does not comfort, does not inspire. It only repeats mercilessly. But that very mercilessness is what frees you. You no longer live in almost, you live fully in the present. No illusions, no blind hope, only execution capacity. This is not a path for the masses. It is lonely, it is boring, it has no glamorous moments. But if you walk it long enough, you will realize freedom in trading does not come from achieving goals. It comes from no longer needing goals at all.